Some of the most dangerous people in your life will never raise their voice. They will smile, they will help, they will tell you exactly what you want to hear. Have you ever noticed that the people who hurt you the most rarely look like enemies? They look kind, they look generous, they look trustworthy. That is what makes them so difficult to recognize. Because real danger doesn't always arrive with arrogance or aggression. Sometimes it arrives wrapped in warmth, politeness, and perfectly chosen words. I am the Watcher, and here, in Shadow Insight, we don't judge people by the image they carefully present. We look beneath it, where human nature quietly reveals its true intentions. Most people believe that cruelty has a face, that manipulation has obvious signs, that deception feels uncomfortable from the beginning. But watch carefully. The people who openly dislike you are often the least dangerous. You already know where you stand with them. The real threat comes from those who make you lower your guard, those who earn your trust before they slowly begin to shape your decisions, influence your emotions, and weaken your confidence without you even realizing it. Tonight, we'll uncover why fake nice people are so difficult to spot, the hidden psychological mechanisms that allow them to hide in plain sight, and the subtle signs most people ignore until it's far too late. If you've ever met someone who seemed almost too kind, this episode may change the way you see them forever. If you enjoy exploring the hidden side of human behavior, subscribe to Shadow Insight, leave a like, and tell me in the comments. Have you ever discovered that someone's kindness wasn't as genuine as it seemed? Watch carefully. Most fake nice people don't begin by taking something from you. They begin by giving a compliment, a favor, their time, their attention. Everything about them seems effortless. They remember small details about your life. They ask how you're doing. They always appear available when you need them. At first, nothing feels suspicious. In fact, most people would describe them as one of the nicest people I've ever met. And that's exactly why they succeed. Have you ever wondered why we instinctively trust someone who is consistently pleasant? Because our brains associate kindness with safety. We assume that a warm smile reflects a good heart, that polite words reveal honest intentions, that generosity must come from genuine care. But human behavior doesn't always work that way. A person can master the appearance of kindness without ever experiencing genuine empathy. Think about someone at work who constantly offers to help everyone. They volunteer for every project. They never openly criticize anyone. They always appear supportive. Yet somehow, they always seem to know everyone's secrets. They're always present when conflicts begin. And strangely, they never seem to be blamed when relationships fall apart. Or imagine a member of your own family, the one who never argues in public, who always speaks softly, who insists they only want what's best for everyone. But after every family gathering, misunderstandings grow. Resentment quietly spreads. People stop trusting each other. No one can explain why, because the person behind it never appears aggressive. They simply plant small doubts. One carefully chosen sentence, one innocent question, one subtle comparison. And then they step back, while everyone else does the damage. This is what makes fake nice people so difficult to recognize. They rarely attack directly. Instead, they build an image so convincing that people begin to defend them before questioning them. Their greatest protection isn't intelligence, it isn't power. It's the reputation they've carefully constructed, a reputation that causes everyone else to ignore the quiet warning signs hiding beneath the surface. And by the time those signs become impossible to deny, most people are already emotionally invested in believing the mask is real. The strange thing about people is, we don't just judge others by what they do. We judge them by the story we've already created about who they are. Once someone has convinced us they're kind, our minds begin filtering everything they do through that belief. A harsh comment becomes honest advice. A controlling decision becomes concern. A manipulation becomes good intentions. Have you ever noticed how difficult it is to believe that someone you've admired could be deceiving you? Not because the evidence isn't there, but because accepting it would force you to admit that your own judgment was wrong. This is where fake nice people quietly gain their greatest advantage. Jung believed that every person has a shadow, the parts of themselves they don't want the world to see. Most people hide anger, or jealousy, or fear. But some people become so attached to appearing good that kindness itself becomes part of the mask. Their identity depends on being seen as thoughtful, generous, and selfless. Not because they genuinely are, but because that image gives them influence. And influence is far more powerful than intimidation. Think about the colleague who is everyone's favorite. They never insult anyone directly. Instead, they say things like, I'm probably overthinking this, or I don't want to judge them, however. The words sound harmless, even humble, yet they quietly plant suspicion in everyone listening. Because the manipulation isn't in the accusation, it's in the appearance of innocence. Adler observed that people often seek significance in different ways. Some earn respect through competence, others through courage. But some discover that appearing exceptionally kind gives them something even more valuable: moral authority. Once people believe you're the good person, they question you less. They forgive you faster. They defend you without realizing it. And anyone who challenges you begins to look like the problem. This is why fake kindness can be so effective. It doesn't force trust, it invites it, slowly, patiently, until one day, people stop evaluating your actions. They only protect the image they've built of you. Watch carefully. Fake kindness is rarely about kindness. It's about control. Not the obvious kind. Not shouting, not intimidation. The quiet kind. The kind that makes people willingly hand over their trust, their loyalty, and eventually, their independence. Have you ever wondered why some people become uncomfortable the moment you stop needing them? At first, they seem supportive. They offer advice before you ask. They solve your problems. They check on you constantly. It feels comforting, until one day you realize something strange. Every important decision somehow passes through them. Every success seems to require their approval. Every disagreement is followed by guilt. What looked like generosity slowly becomes dependence. And dependence is one of the most effective forms of control. Nietzsche once suggested that power doesn't always seek domination through force. Sometimes it seeks influence through values. The appearance of virtue can become its own kind of power. A fake nice person understands this instinctively. If they can become the good one in everyone's eyes, they no longer need to defend themselves. Others will do it for them. This is why they rarely attack your reputation directly. Instead, they protect their own. Every favor becomes another reason people feel indebted. Every act of generosity becomes another layer of credibility. Every public display of kindness becomes another shield against suspicion. Then, when conflict finally appears, people don't ask, what did they do? They ask, are you sure you didn't misunderstand them? That question changes everything. Because now, the burden of proof belongs to the victim. The mask has become stronger than the truth. And perhaps the most unsettling part, many fake nice people don't even see themselves as dishonest. They genuinely believe they're good people. They justify every manipulation as protection, every lie as diplomacy, every act of control as love. Human nature has an extraordinary ability to rewrite its own motives. The mind rarely says, I'm manipulating them. It whispers, I'm only helping. And when someone believes their own mask, it becomes almost impossible for others to see through it. But here's the part most people never expect. The greatest danger isn't meeting a fake nice person. The greatest danger is becoming dependent on the comfort they provide. Because fake kindness only works when it gives you something you desperately want: approval, validation, protection, a sense of belonging. Think back to the people who earned your trust the fastest. Was it because you truly knew them, or because they made you feel seen? There is a difference, a dangerous one. When someone constantly reassures you, agrees with you, or seems almost too perfect, your critical thinking begins to fall asleep. You stop observing, you start assuming, and assumptions are where deception quietly thrives. The strange thing about people is that we often look for kindness, when what we should be looking for is consistency. A genuinely kind person doesn't need an audience. They don't become generous only when others are watching. They don't make you feel guilty for saying no. They don't remind you of everything they've done for you. Their kindness doesn't come with invisible contracts. It remains the same whether they gain something from it or not. So perhaps the real question isn't, who is pretending to be kind? Perhaps it's, why am I so eager to believe every act of kindness is genuine? Because every one of us carries emotional blind spots. Loneliness, the need to be accepted, the fear of conflict, the desire to believe that good intentions are always real. Fake nice people don't create those blind spots. They simply learn to recognize them. And once someone discovers the emotional door you leave unlocked, they rarely need to force it open. They simply wait for you to invite them inside. Watch carefully. The people who deceive you the most are rarely the ones who openly oppose you. They're often the ones who make you feel the safest. Throughout this episode, we've uncovered a simple but uncomfortable truth. Fake kindness is powerful because it doesn't demand trust. It quietly earns it, little by little, until the mask becomes more believable than reality itself. The hidden mechanism isn't that fake nice people are impossible to recognize. It's that most people mistake pleasant behavior for genuine character. But character is never revealed by isolated moments of kindness. It's revealed by consistency, by how someone behaves when they gain nothing, when no one is watching, when they don't get their way. That's where the mask begins to crack. And perhaps that's the revelation promised at the beginning. The hardest people to spot aren't those who pretend to be good. They're the ones whose kindness makes you stop asking questions. Human nature always reveals itself eventually. Not through words, not through carefully crafted smiles, but through patterns that repeat over time. So don't rush to trust someone because they seem kind. Watch how they treat people who can offer them nothing. Watch how they react to boundaries. Watch what happens when you stop agreeing with them. Because appearances can be rehearsed. Patterns rarely are. If this episode made you see human behavior from a different perspective, subscribe to Shadow Insight, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever realized that someone's kindness disappeared the moment they could no longer control you?